Today is Taanis Esther. Esther's fast, but even on fast days we have to learn Torah, not just even, especially. On a fast day, every mitzvah that you do is extra special. Because the fast day in general is a day of tshuva. It's a day of reflection on our deeds and making a resolution to improve them. And there's no better way to improve than to learn more of Hashem's Torah. So to learn Rambam today carries an extra significance. And with that, let's begin. Hilchos Nedarim, Perek Asiri, the Laws of Vows, chapter 10. Today, it's all going to be about how we define time frames for vows. Because every vow has a subject. That means you're talking about something, an act which you're going to do or you're not going to do. And many times it comes along with a time frame. You're not going to do this for a day, for a week, for a month, for a year. And so we have to know the meaning of different Hebrew words when it comes to the laws of vows. So the Rambam begins with 3 different ways to make a vow for a day. It says the Rambam halacha aleph, hanoidere hanishba. If someone takes a vow or an oath, she'eni toyim hayoim. He says, I'm not going to taste any food today. So today, according to Jewish law, ends at sunset. Einei asur elad shetachshach is only forbidden to eat until nightfall. Okay, a little after sunset. The point is, hayoim today means till the end of the biblical day. But if a person says, she'eni toyim yoim echad, I'm not going to taste food for one day means 24 hours. Asur me'es le'es mishas nidrei. He's forbidden for, me'es le'es means from time to time. It means from this time today till this time tomorrow. Exactly 24 hours from the moment he made the vow. The fichach, therefore, says the Rambam, even though technically, hayoim only means today until sunset, and yoim echad means 24 hours, because most people don't understand this difference, says the Rambam, lefichach, therefore, haneider shani toyim hayoim. If someone uses the first expression, to say, I'm not going to taste any food today, afal pishahu mutar mishatachshach, even though technically speaking, he's already permitted to eat once it gets night, lo yoichal mishatachshach. He shouldn't eat as soon as it hits nightfall, ad sheyishal lechacham, until he specifically asks a sage to release his vow. Gzeira, because there's a decree, Shema Yishava Pam Acheres Yom Echad. Maybe, this time he said Hayoim today, but maybe next time he's going to say Yom Echad, one full day, which means 24 hours. But Yoichal Mishatech but he's going to make a mistake and eat once it becomes nightfall without waiting the full 24 hours. Shari Ein Kol Ha'am Yoidim Hefresh Shebein Zelazeh. Because not everybody knows the difference between today, one day. Therefore, you should treat all the vows as one day and give it 24 hours. Halacha Beis Nadar Shani Toyim Yoim. What if a person says in Hebrew, I'm not going to taste day? So in English it wouldn't make sense. You would have to say a day or the day or today, but in Hebrew you can say just yoim. I'm not going to taste day. So do we treat it as hayoim? Huh? Yeah, usually you say hayom, but you could also, it's grammatically correct to say she'eni to'em yom. You can say that. I'm not going to taste a day or day. So which category does this go into? So there's a question mark. Harei safek. That's a doubt. We treat it stringently. And we say you're going to be forbidden for 24 hours. As if you would have said one full day. But we're not going to hold you accountable. If you eat once it gets dark, we're not going to give you lashes. In other words, for sure you have to fast till it gets dark, as though you said hayoim. Perhaps you have to fast even more till 24 hours. So for that, we're going to make you do it. But if you don't do it, we're not going to give you lashes. That's all for a day. Now let's move to a week. And we have the same scenario. Shani toyim shabazu. If someone says, I'm not going to taste for this week. This week means till the end of the week. You're forbidden for the rest of the days of the week, including Shabbat. You cannot eat on Shabbat. And the next Sunday, you're already permitted. But if a person says, Shani toyim Shabbos achas, I'm not going to taste for one full week. So right away the commentaries over here point out that we learned in the laws of oaths that it's not possible for a person to go a week without eating. So clearly the person is referring to over here one specific type of food. He's saying, I'm not going to taste meat or I'm not going to taste bread for one full week. So since you said one full week, it doesn't go till the end of the week. It's a full 7 days. You're forbidden for 7 24-hour periods. Omar Shabbos Stam, if a person just says week, he didn't say this week, he didn't say 1 week, he just says week. He didn't say one or this. Harei safek is a doubt, but asur shiva yamim me'es le'es. Out of stringency, we're going to make you forbidden for 7 24-hour periods. But if you ate once Shabbat passes, Einei Leika, we're not going to give you lashes, Kamei Shabiyarnu, as we explained. And the same principle now goes for a month. We have a day, a week, and now a month. Shani Shaisa Chaydesh Zeh. A person says, I'm not going to drink for this month. This month means the rest of this month. Asur b'shar yemei ha'chaydesh. She's forbidden for the rest of the days of the month. Aval b'yom reish chaydesh yiyeh muter. But the next day, the new month, so let's say here, this is the month of Shvat, right? So a person is over here, in the middle of Shvat, and he says, I'm not going to eat for this month. This month only goes until here. Once you hit Aleph, the first day of the next month, you're already permitted. Afal pi shahaya chaydesh chaser. Even though it may have been a lacking month, a month of only 29 days. We learned, if you remember, not to confuse everybody, in the laws of the new moon, that the new moon's conjunction with the sun, the molad, actually happens every 29 and a half days. So if you think about it, in some months, the month ends before the conjunction begins. And therefore there might be reason to think that you're going to have to fast for one more day. The Rambam says no. If we go in regular terms. A person says this month, he means till this month is over. Once this month is over and it's the new month, I'm already permitted. If he says, Shani Toyim Chodesh Echad, I'm not going to taste for 1 month, not this month, 1 month. 1 month means 30 days. Asur Shloshim Yem Gemura Meis Le'es is forbidden for 30 24-hour periods. Nadar Chodesh Stam. If a person just says month, not this month, not 1 month, month. I'm not going to taste month. Asur Shloshim Yem Meis Le'es Misafik. So out of doubt, again, we treat it stringently and we say you have to keep 30 full days. But if you did, and if you didn't, and you violate your vow, we're not going to give you lashes. And now we move on to the next thing. For a year, Shani Eichel Basar Shana Zu. A person says, I'm not going to eat meat for this year. Even if only 1 day remains from the year. In other words, you made your vow on the 29th day of Elul, literally 12 hours before sunset on Rosh Hashanah, and you said, this year I'm not going to eat any meat. You're only forbidden for that day. Once the new year begins, you're already permitted. For these purposes, even though in Torah many times we say that the new year begins in Nisan, before Pesach, but for vows, the new year is the first day of the month of Tishrei. If somebody says, I'm not going to eat for 1 year, not this year, 1 year, so you're forbidden for the complete year from day to day. So today is the 11th of Adar. A person says on the 11th of Adar, I'm not going to eat for 1 year. He's forbidden till the next year, 11th of Adar. If in the middle of the year became a leap year, see today we have our calendar already fixed. We know that this year 5784 is a leap year. But let's say you didn't know yet and you're waiting for the courts to announce it. So it was the month of Kislev around Hanukkah time. You say you're not going to eat meat for a year. You're thinking it's only 12 months. Meanwhile comes the court and announces 2 months later, hey guys, it's a leap year. 13th month this year. Says the Rambam, that's also included. Asur ba uve ibura. You're forbidden in the rest of the year and the extension, the leap year. Shani oichel shana. If a person says, I'm not going to eat year, not this year, not 1 year, year. Hareza asur shana tmima miyam liyam yisafek kamesha bi'arnu. So again, for the same doubt, we hold stringently and make you forbidden for a full year. Halacha hey shani sheisa yayin shavua zeh. I'm not going to drink wine for this shavua. Now, in modern Hebrew, shavua means a week, but in halachic Hebrew, shavua means 7-year cycle, a full cycle of Shemitah. So it says, I'm not going to drink wine for this Shemitah cycle. Asur b'shar shnei hashavua u b'shnas hashmita. You're forbidden for the rest of the years of the Shemitah cycle, plus the year of Shemitah, the 7th year, the sabbatical year, which in this case would be 5782 was the last Shemitah year, so 5789. You'll be forbidden all the way till the end of 2029. October of 2029. You're only permitted beginning from the new year of the year after Shemitah. He makes a vow, I'm not going to drink wine for 1 Shemitah cycle, 1 full 7-year cycle. You count 7 years from the day you're standing on, from day to day, 7 full years, you cannot drink wine. Amar Yovel Zeh, if he says, I'm not going to drink wine for this Jubilee cycle, Yovel happens every 50 years. So then, Asur b'shar shnei hayovel u b'shnas chamishim atzma, you're forbidden for the rest of the years of the Yovel cycle, plus the 50th year itself. And we're going to learn more about this.
You can undo the neder?
Yeah, well, that's in every vow. If you change your mind, and there's a valid reason for changing your mind, and the sages determine that it's okay, they'll do what's called hatarat nedarim, they'll release the vow and it'll be okay. But technically speaking, this is the level of the prohibition that you have when you say, I'm not going to drink wine for a full Jubilee cycle. Halacha Vav. This is an interesting halacha, and it pertains very much to the time that we're in right now, the idea of a Jewish leap year. We have, every year, 1 month of Adar. In a leap year, there are 2 months of Adar. The question is, which Adar is the main Adar, and which one is the added one? So that's the question around which this halacha is going to revolve. Says the Rambam, Shani Shaisa Yayin Ad Reish Adar. A person makes a vow, he says, I'm not going to drink wine till the beginning of Adar. So which Adar does he have in mind? The beginning of the first Adar or the beginning of the second Adar? So if it's a regular year, obviously, till the month of Adar, it's fine. But what if, what if it was a leap year, and he did not know that it was a leap year when he made the vow? So by default, says the Rambam, you're only forbidden until the first Adar. Because if you didn't know it was a leap year, then we assume you meant the regular Adar. According to the Rambam, the regular Adar is the second Adar. And therefore, if you would have known that it was a leap year, that's the month to which you would be forbidden. But since you didn't know it was a leap year, you figured Adar comes after Shvat. And so in this case, it's the first Adar that comes after Shvat. That's the one to which you're forbidden. If you made the vow, you're not going to have wine till the end of the month of Adar, even though you didn't know that it was a leap year. But in your mind, when you think of end of Adar, what do you think of? You think of the day closest to Nisan. So since over here, it's a leap year. Yes, you didn't know, but you had in mind till the end of the month of Adar. In this case, the end of the second Adar. But if you would have known that it's a leap year, and you would have made a vow till the beginning of the month of Adar, the main Adar is the second Adar. And therefore, Asur Ad Reish Adar Sheni. You're forbidden until the beginning of the second month of Adar, because the first month of Adar is just the added month. The real one is the second one. There's an argument about this, by the way. In Shulchan Aruch, it's not so simple. But according to the Rambam, the second one is the Adar, which people have usually in mind. That's why Purim is in this month, etc., etc. And you'd be forbidden until the beginning of the second Adar. Now, the Rambam takes a look at 2 other Hebrew words that could define vows. The word ad in Hebrew means until. The question is, does it mean up to but not including whatever you said, or up to and including? So it goes like this. A person forbids himself to have something until Pesach. Bein she'amar ad pnei Pesach, bein she'amar ad Pesach, whether he says until the appearance or the face of Pesach or until Pesach. The word ad simply means up to but not including. You say till Pesach, you mean till the beginning, till Pesach arrives. But if you said ad sheyiyah Pesach, I'm going to be forbidden in this object until Pesach will be. Until Pesach will be means that Pesach. That means till it passes. You're going to be forbidden until the whole Pesach is over. Omar, what if you said ad hakotzir or ad habotzir? You didn't label a calendar date. See, when you label a calendar date, so then you have this difference. Ad means up to but not including. Ad sheyiyah means up to and including. But if you're talking about a time frame, not a specific date, a person says until the harvest of the wheat or until the harvest of the grapes. Then whether you said regular ad or you said ad sheyiyah till the harvest will be, you're only forbidden till the time arrives. This is the general rule. Anything which has a specific set time, v'nodar adov, and you made a vow, ad it, until it, the prohibition goes until it comes. If you use the terminology till it will be, you're forbidden till it passes. But if it doesn't have a specific set date, set time, like the time of harvesting grain or harvesting grapes, then whether you said until or you said until it will be, you're only forbidden until it arrives. Now, what is considered the arrival time of harvest? So we have to define that. So it says the Rambam goes like this. A person forbids himself in a certain object until the kayitz. Kayitz literally means the summertime, but it means the time when people would typically dry out their figs in the fields. Hare asr, so since the word ad means until it arrives, what is called the arrival time of summer, the arrival time of drying figs? Hare asr ad she'aschilu anshe hamakim shenadar boi lahachnis kalkoles te'enim. You're forbidden until people in that locale begin to bring in their baskets of figs. Ad hakatzir, if you said I'm forbidden, till the harvest, what is called the beginning of the harvest. Ad she'yaschilu ha'am liktzir k'tzir chitim, avaloi k'tzir sa'irim. It's when people begin to harvest wheat, not barley. Wheat is harvested later than barley. Barley is first. That's why in the temple times, they brought the karban omer of barley on Pesach, and the wheat only came on Shavuot, because the harvest of wheat is later. So harvest typically means the more important and the more prominent grain, which is wheat. Peidash v'amar, if a person clearly said, Ad sheyaver hakayitz, I want to make my vow till the kayitz passes, you're forbidden until most people fold up their mats in their yards, upon which they dry out their figs and their grapes to make them into dried figs and raisins. People would have these mats. They would spread out their figs, they would dry in the sun, and then they would take them back in. So once people fold up their mats, that's the end of the summer. However, it does go by the region. You must check out the place that you're in. Every place has different time frames for each of these things. Keita, what does that mean? A person is in a valley or in an open plain, and he forbids himself to have something until the kayitz. And then he goes up to the mountain. You don't care about where you are now, whether the kayitz time came or not. You have to take a look at the kayitz in the place where you came from, where you made the vow. That's what you rely on. And anything similar, laws are the same. A person says, I'm not going to have something until the rain. When is called the rain? So you're forbidden until what's called the rainy time, which is on the first day of the month of Kislev. That's when the rainy time begins. Once the time for rain actually arrives, once the first day of Kislev arrives, you're automatically permitted. You didn't mean till it rains. You meant till the rainy time. Once the rainy time comes, whether it rains or not, you're permitted. If rain came that year even earlier, thank God it was a good year for Israel, and rain came even from beginning of 17th of Mar Cheshvan, you're already permitted. In other words, we kind of go both ways. If it actually rains, we go by that. If the rainy time comes, even if it didn't rain, we go by that. But if a person said, not ad hageshem, but ad hagshamim, until the rains means until it rains. You're forbidden until the rain actually comes down. And it has to come down in what's called the second round of rain. Minimum at the earliest, 23rd of Cheshvan and on. If you clearly said, I'm going to be forbidden in this object until the rains stop. When do the rains stop? In Israel and in the similar climates, you're forbidden until after Pesach. Rainy time goes until after Pesach. Halacha Yud Beis. A person is standing in the month of Cheshvan, right after the holidays of Simchat Torah, and he tells his wife the following. He puts his wife under a vow. The Amar La, and he tells her, She'einat nenesli mikan va'ada Pesach. You cannot have any benefit from me from today until Pesach. Im telchi leveis avich mehayom va'ad Sukkos. If you ever travel to your father between now and Sukkot, which is 6 months after Pesach. So, since you don't know what she's going to do in those 6 months, right away she's forbidden to have benefit, because she might end up going sometime between now and Sukkot to her father's house. If she violated the vow, she went to her father's house before Pesach, and he was giving her benefit before Pesach, he gets lashes. He does, because he violated his vow. Others say you should read it, she gets lashes for violating the vow. Once Pesach passes, even though anyway the condition is over, the time frame of lack of benefit is over, it's still forbidden to behave with your vow mundanely and let her go to her father's house and have benefit. Keep the prohibition up until Sukkot, till the next year as you vowed. Even though you depended the prohibition of the vow upon a time frame which already passed, doesn't matter. We don't want people to treat vows lightly. And the same thing applies in all similar situations. If she goes after Pesach. So in other words, it's a bit of a, she didn't go before Pesach, she went after Pesach. Going forward, she's not forbidden to have benefit from him because the whole prohibition time frame was before Pesach. Even though she shouldn't go now, between now and Sukkot, the benefit issue is no longer an issue. Halacha Yud Gimel Amar La, if he said the opposite, in this case, She'enat ne'enes li'ad ha'chag, im telchi leveis avich ad Pesach, you cannot have any benefit from me until Sukkot. If you go to your father's house anytime between now and Pesach, asura lehanis miyat, right away she's forbidden to have any benefit. If she goes before Pesach and he's still giving her benefit, he gets lashes, or others say she gets lashes. And if she goes, the vow goes into effect, and she's forbidden to have benefit indeed until Sukkot, as he said. But certainly once Pesach passes and the vow itself is over, she can certainly go to her father's house.